Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about why the Roth IRA is cracked. If you don't know what the Roth IRA is, it's a taxable retirement account that allows you to put your income to better use over time, because once you take that Roth IRA money out of the account, it's completely tax-free. When you put the money in, you're using taxable income. So you use, whatever you make from your job, tax that, and then whatever's left over, put it in the Roth IRA. And this is great for people who not only don't make as much money now as they could when they retire, but also in case tax rates rise. So if tax rates do rise, the Roth IRA will be able to shield you from those higher tax rates in the future. And you may be wondering, well, I don't think taxes are going to go up. Taxes are high, but they've never been that high for me to want to put it in a Roth IRA. And you may be wondering, well, if there are certain limits, right, to a Roth IRA, then how does that help me personally? Well, in truth, anyone can put money into a Roth IRA. All you have to do is do a rollover from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, and that will allow you to invest money into a Roth IRA. You're going to have to go to a financial advisor for that. I'm just a dude on YouTube. But the reason why I want to talk about Roth IRAs and that no one else is talking about is because tax rates in the US have never been this low, ever. I'm going to show you now. If we look at taxfoundation.org and we're looking at the tax rates, we can see that this significant moment between 2017 and 2018, where the Trump presidency passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And you can see that if you compare, this first column is married filing jointly. This one's married filing separately. The second column, the third column is single, and then the fourth column is head of household. Before we scroll down, let's check out the tax brackets and compare them to what we'll see later. So we have the first tax bracket, which is 10% if you make more than $0. If you're married filing jointly, it will be 10% between 0 and 19,000. If you're filing single, it's 10% between 0 and 9,500. And if we scroll down, just keeping in mind what taxes were like early on, see 2018 and 2017, we only have so many tiers, not very many tiers of tax brackets, and it only goes up to 40%. But if we go down to 1973, for example, there we go. I mean, look at how many different tax layers there are. Look at how much more complex taxes were like back in 1973. Before like TurboTax, imagine having to do your taxes and being like, well, this year, I am $100 over this tier and now I owe 32%. And it's like, whoa. Check it out. So you could get taxed up to 70%. Isn't that wild? Like, people were okay with that. A country that was founded on no taxation without representation, this is pretty wild. And so, granted, the incomes varied drastically back then. It's more skewed than it is today. To be fair, the average, I think, income for a married household in the 70s was about $30,000, which is also the same median price of homes back then. And you were taxed about between 42-45% back then if you're married filing jointly. And if you were single, that same tax bracket would have put you at between 14 and 16,000. So they did split it evenly between married jointly and single. But you can see that you're taxed a lot more. And even though these are smaller dollar amounts, so 45% of 18,000 is probably around $10,000. No, $8,000. And so, yeah, that's a lot of money being taxed, $8,000. But if you were taxed 45% today and you made the equivalent, probably $120,000, that would be $50,000. So that would be a lot more than what you'd be taxed normally today, which is around 30% if you were single. But it just keeps getting extreme as you keep going down in the years. The last change in law was, and this is very helpful because it tells you when the tax laws changed, whenever taxes are changed. And so the next time it was changed was 1954. So if we go to 1952, for example, so 92% if you made over $400,000. I mean, imagine what kind of loopholes you have to jump through to not get taxed 92% on your income. I mean, the rich had to be really smart about their money because otherwise you're just going to lose it all, right? So 1951, you look at this, and the taxes get complicated from here. But yeah, 91% for over 400,000. So I think in general, people really need to understand that we have it really good right now. It's possible to continue doing well in the future if you not only save for retirement, but you have a finance pro in your background, whether it's, a family member who works in Wall Street, or, if you have a financial advisor in your corner or you need one. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not advocating this, but for myself at least, but in reality, this is important stuff to consider, because if the government is continuing to spend money at the rate that they are, imagine what taxes are going to be like in the future. And it's not just America. This is all Western nations that are in debt. So what do you need to do to prevent yourself from getting overly taxed in the future in case of some apocalyptic effect where, the government's going to raise taxes by like another 30% on every tax bracket? So what you've got to do is, one, invest in your retirement so that in the future you're guaranteed to sit down, relax, and do the things that you want to do. Number two, make sure that you're putting your money not only in the brokerage accounts, which is important in case you ever want to retire early, but also you want to think about, where do I want to be? How much do I want to get taxed? If I pull money from here and here, how will that affect my taxes? So you want to calculate your tax allocation. You want to make sure that in the future, that if I'm going to get taxed this amount, it's only going to affect this income, and I have this income on the side for my Roth IRA that's protected from those taxes. So utilize the Roth, put money into retirement, and think about your other retirement allocation areas where you're putting your money. And I think as long as you're doing that early on, even before you're like 50 years old, you're set. Even if you're above 50 years old, you still have the retirement catch-up contribution. That will help you tremendously. I just think more people need to be talking about this because it is so strange. Like when I looked this up, I was like, I wonder how taxes were back then. And they were way higher. For the average American that doesn't know tax loopholes, this is really important to know. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll be posting more often. And yeah, have a great one, guys.